Hi, I'm Silverpaw, and today I'm bringing you Chapter 7 of Detention, a Kingdom Hearts fanfiction. Now before we get started, I just want to remind you guys that if you like the video, please leave a like, because every like, and even the dislikes, really help out the channel. Anyways, let's get started. Roxas stared at himself in the mirror, his blonde spikes hanging in his face, his teeth freshly brushed. He was ready physically to confront his sort of boyfriend. Mentally, not so much. He wasn't sure how much Axel knew or how much he wanted the redhead to know. Still, he couldn't leave him waiting forever. He stared into his own blue eyes in the mirror and took a deep breath. He couldn't stay in the bathroom forever. Taking another deep breath, as if he were entering a battlefield rather than his own hallway, he opened the bathroom door and stepped out. The cool air was freezing against the bare skin of his chest. He didn't like to put on a shirt right after he showered because the back of his shirt would get wet and that bothered him. So he usually just put on his boxers and a pair of jeans and waited for his hair to dry before donning a shirt. He'd acted on autopilot when heading for the bathroom, so he hadn't taken a moment to think that he would be seen by just his family, and maybe Zection, who was basically family anyway. The problem was fixed easily enough considering his room was right across the hall, but he was still cold. He opened his door, hardly sparing a glance at the second person in the room, assuming it was Zection. That is until the person spoke. "Damn, Roxy, are you trying to seduce me? 'Cause it's working." He whipped around, possibly faster than he'd ever moved in his entire life. Axel stood in front of him, eyes shamelessly sweeping over Roxas's frame, tongue darting out to lick his lips, but only for a moment. Roxas wondered if he should worry about Axel eating him. "You know you were so built underneath those baggy clothes." He took another step forward and Roxas instinctually took a step back, a small thrill of excitement running up his spine. The little game continued on until Roxas was backed up against the wall, Axel's chest in his face. He licked his lips and swallowed hard, his throat having become rather dry. Hey, Axel, I didn't know you were, His words were cut off by the redhead's mouth pushing against his. Hard, but not unpleasant. Axel wasted no time, and soon Roxas was allowing his mouth to be prodded open by a probing tongue. The taste of cigarettes and big red gum overtook him, making him sigh wistfully and wrap his arms around the redhead's neck. Axel pulled away and took a breath, his lips brushing lightly against Roxas as he spoke. "You're fucking short, Roxy. We'll have to work on this." He then proceeded to wrap his hands on Roxas's thighs and lift him up again to his own height, leaning the blonde back up against the wall and pressing his own body close enough to keep him up without too much effort. Pleased with this new position, Axel continued to ravish his mouth until the door opened and there was a loud cough behind them. They pulled away slowly and Axel backed up a pace, letting Roxas slip back to the ground. Sora stood at the door, looking a mix between disgusted, impressed, and embarrassed. "I could have lived without seeing that. Thanks. Leon told me to come in to make sure you guys weren't doing anything inappropriate, and I'm not sure if making out was part of that or if he meant to see if you guys were, doing it. I think he did mean that, but I figured I should probably stop you because it sort of looked like that's where you guys were headed." "Sora!" Roxas yelped as Axel started to laugh. "Just stop, we get it. You split us up. Go tell Leon that you've completed your mission." Sora shot a cheeky grin, saluted, and left the room. "You're an ass," Roxas informed the hysterical redhead, looking through his pile of clean clothes for a short shirt to wear. "Don't pin this on me," Axel exclaimed, still sounding incredibly amused. "You're the one who came here with no shirt on and your jeans all low on your hips, practically begging for me to kiss you." "I don't even know you were in here until you were right there, practically attacking me," Roxas argued back. "Why the hell do you even have to wear your pants so low? You're already so damn kissable it hurts. Do you have to be so slutty about it?" Axel demanded, crossing his arms over his chest and narrowing his eyes as if Roxas had committed a federal crime. Roxas glowered back, refusing to back down from the challenge. "My belt broke a month ago and I've lost a lot of weight because I haven't been able to eat as much as I should. They just don't fit right anymore." Yeah, he pulled the destitute card. It was low, but Axel suddenly looked remorseful, and he gloated with his victory. The redhead sighed and let his arms fall to his side. "Sorry, Roxas, I didn't actually mean that you were a slut. I was just teasing you because you're all cute when you get so indignant." Roxas took a moment to think of a reply to that. Coming up with nothing, he muttered, "I'm not cute." Axel laughed and wrapped an arm around Roxas's shoulder, the blonde automatically pressing against him without a thought. "Let's go meet your brother, why don't we? Is he gonna give me the speech?" "The speech?" Roxas repeated dumbly. "Yeah, the one that dads usually give their daughters' boyfriends when they first meet." "Are we?" Roxas asked, looking up at the redhead. "I mean, like, boyfriends?" Axel grinned and squeezed him tightly with the arm around his shoulders. "If you want to be," he said simply. "Oh, okay, then I guess we are." The grin grew and Axel swooped down and kissed him lightly once more. "Good, I was hoping you'd say that." Axel led them out of the room, heading back towards the living room. Roxas, being held to the redhead's side, had no choice but to accompany him. He'd almost regretted not pulling away when he caught the expression on Leon's face. He looked a mix between excited, startled, and apprehensive. It was a dangerous mix. "So, you're Axel," Leon said, his voice sounding neutral. "Yeah, that's me." Roxas wasn't quite sure what to do. He could see Leon's eyes resting at the point where Axel held him, but he didn't want to move away. Having Axel hold him was comforting. "Hey, Roxas, do me a favor and go help Namine with her math homework. She said the parabolas were beating the hell out of her, and I couldn't remember how to do it." "Oh, you're trying to get me out of the room so you can interrogate my boyfriend while I'm gone," Roxas snorted. "You're right. Go away." Roxas rolled his eyes, slipped out from under Axel's arm, and headed back towards Namine's room. He knocked on the door and Namine opened it, grinning up at him as she knew exactly what was going on. When Roxas entered, he saw that Sora, Riku, and Zexion were all there as well. "So, do I have to pretend that I don't understand parabolas, or did you see right through Leon's little scheme?" "Go ahead and do your homework while I try to remember what the hell a parabola is," Roxas sighed. Namine giggled and reached into her knapsack, pulling out a sketchbook and a pencil. "I finished my homework before the teacher actually assigned it. Leon just wanted me to lie to you, even though I told him you wouldn't be stupid enough to fall for it." With that being said, she flopped on her bed between Sora and Riku, the latter looking a bit disgruntled. Larxine's guess about them being future family flashed through his mind, and he figured Larxine was wrong about one thing. Riku was most certainly already family. Not knowing what else to do, Roxas sighed and took a seat next to Zexion, substantially making sure there was absolutely no room left on the mattress. Leon stood up as soon as he heard the door close down the hall. He frowned at the redhead, though he wasn't sure whether it was because of the new boyfriend or because he was still a whole head taller than the brunette. "Sit," he growled, gesturing to the couch. Ah, so it was the height. Axel dropped onto the couch, almost wincing as he realized it was a pull-out bed due to the hard springs underneath him. "Okay, kid, I'm gonna let you know something right now." Axel decided to ignore the kid comment, for now. Roxas has enough shit to deal with without someone getting with his feelings, so if you're here to do that, you can just get the hell out now. Axel stayed on the couch, watching the fuming older brother in interest. He was actually worried about Roxas, not trying to sound intimidating for his own sake. That was out of the ordinary. "I'm not interested in screwing with Roxas's feelings," Axel said, staring at Leon unflinchingly. The brunette seemed to believe him and nodded. Do you have any addictions? Be honest, because I'll know if you're lying." Axel blinked at this question, unsure that if it was normal or Leon was just weird. Still, he figured he better not push things too far, so he answered, "Yeah, cigarettes and Gatorade." This stopped him for a moment, an eyebrow quirking in curiosity. "Gatorade? The orange kind," Axel confirmed with a nod, enjoying the brunette's moment of shock. "Oh, and big red gum." "Right." Leon trailed off for a moment before returning to with a vengeance. "So I've basically decided that I hate your piercings." "Is that so?" "Yeah, it is. What if I told you that you couldn't see my brother if you didn't take them out?" Was this guy serious? I'd leave him in and see Roxas anyways. He's 18, he can make his own decisions. I'm not worried about you liking me, just Roxas. As if by magic, Leon's face split into a grin. "That's what I want to hear. You're not a pushover. I can respect that. You take good care of my brother, alright?" Axel snorted, trying not to show how disoriented he was by this change of conversation. "Good luck with that. Roxas doesn't let people take care of him. He hates charity, didn't you know?" Leon grunted. "Yeah, I know. Do it anyway. If he'll let anyone do it, he'll think it'll be you. I have a good feeling about this." Pleased with the blessing, Axel watched in curiosity as Leon crossed over to the cabinet across the room and unlocked it. He pulled out the biggest sword Axel had ever seen, complete with a trigger at the hilt. It was a gun blade, something the redhead had only ever read about. "Like I said, I have a good feeling about this. On the other hand, if you ever hurt Roxas in any way, I know how to use this." Axel nodded, eyes never leaving the wicked-looking blade. "Oh my god, Leon, really? You're threatening him? Put that thing away." Roxas had made his reappearance and was now hurrying towards his older brother, waving his arms in the air like a crazy man. I'll never forgive you if you scare him away. Axel choked back a laugh as he watched the brothers, Roxas yelling and Leon placing a hand firmly on the blonde's forehead to keep him at arm's length. Roxas scowled up at his older brother, annoyed by the hand planted on his forehead. "Damn it, Leon, don't do that," he snarled. He paused when he heard someone clearing their throat, suddenly remembering his newly appointed boyfriend still sitting on the couch. "Oh shit. Sorry, Axel," he sighed, the nickname slipping out naturally as he called the redhead that many times before. I actually want to talk to you both about something." This caught their attention, causing the brothers to separate completely and look up at him. He looked a little nervous, as if he might regret what he was about to say, but his eyes were determined. "I heard you talking to Zection earlier," he said to Leon, "about the issue with paying your rent." Roxas' stomach dropped, having a vague suspicion where Axel was going with this. "I guess I don't really know you, any of you, all that well, but from what I can tell, you're a really close family." Leon nodded, his arms coming to cross tightly over his chest. "The thing is, I really wouldn't want to see you guys get split up. I don't think you could survive it, so I have a proposition for you." "No," Roxas said loudly, cutting his boyfriend off in the middle of his sentence. "Absolutely not. There's no fucking way I'm letting you pay our rent." "It wouldn't be a permanent thing, Rox," Axel said imploringly. "It would be like a loan from the Bank of Axel. I give you what you need to pay your rent when you need it, which is now, and you can pay me back when you can." "That's not the way a bank works," Roxas said coldly. "Banks have set plans with how much you pay back in a given time." Axel threw his hands in the air in exasperation. "Fine then, set up a damn plan to pay me back and I don't care. We can work out the details until your brain oozes from your ears if you want." "Damn it, Axel, you can't just pay our rent for us. It's $600, and I only have half." "Roxas," Axel interrupted, speaking loudly, "my dad is a multi-billionaire. I have more money than I'll ever be able to use in 6 lifetimes, just rotting away in the bank. If I can use it to help someone that I care about, why shouldn't I?" "Because, Axel, I told you, I can't just take charity. It wouldn't feel right taking your money." His voice died in his throat as Leon let out a deep sigh and stepped forward, speaking loudly over Roxas' hysterical explanation. "Okay, I can work out alone." Axel tore his eyes away from Roxas' burning eyes, looking at Leon for a time before nodding. "Alright then, I'll go grab my checkbook from the car. I'll be back in a sec." He made his exit, leaving the blonde to stare at his brother incredulously. "Leon!" Roxas exclaimed. "Shut up, Roxas," Leon said quietly yet firmly at the same time. "But, Leon... Roxas!" The blonde fell silent at the sound of his brother's raised voice. "I know this is against your moral code. That's why I'm making the decision here. I'm the one taking the money, not you." His eyes fell closed and he let out a deep breath through his nose, rubbing his temples. "I made a commitment to you and myself that if anything, I would do whatever it took to make sure we never got split up. If that means I have to lose a little dignity and borrow some money, then that's what I'll do." Axel re-entered the house, checkbook in hand. He flopped down on the couch, balancing the book on his knees, scrawling in surprisingly neat hand. "Who do I make it out to?" he asked, a hand flashing up to unconsciously push his hair out of his eyes. As Leon told Axel how to spell their landlord's name, Roxas watched them from across the room. He could sort of understand why Leon had done what he did, but he still couldn't help but hate the fact that he had. He loved his siblings, but it just felt wrong to take money from someone, almost as if he was taking advantage. Unable to listen to them discuss payment options, he shook his head and made his way back to his bedroom, flopping down on the mattress, unsure why he was so annoyed. Maybe it was the simple fact that he didn't like charity, no matter who took it. Maybe it was the fact that he actually needed charity. Either way, he wasn't in the best of moods. It only worsened when there was a soft knock on the door a few moments later, and then Axel poked his head in, looking uncertain. "Roxas, can I come in?" The blonde waved his hand in a do-what-you-will manner, refusing to look away from the particularly interesting patch on the wall his eyes were focused on. Axel crouched next to him, peering at the blonde with his peculiar eyes. "Roxas, I don't really know what to say. I'm not sorry for making the offer, or writing the check, but I am sorry that you're mad at me for it." Roxas didn't say anything, but he could see the redhead shaking his head out of his peripheral vision. "Alright, I get it. I'll just see you later then, I guess." Roxas felt guilty instantly, his hand snatching out and grabbing Axel's arm as he made the stand. The redhead looking surprised, allowing Roxas to pull him down onto the mattress next to him. As soon as he was in a good enough position, Roxas wrapped his arms around his boyfriend's waist, resting his head against his chest and closing his eyes. Axel's arms came around him, holding him close, making his entire body warm up almost instantly. He hadn't even realized he was cold until he felt Axel's warmth. "I'm sorry for being such a brat," he said softly. "I should be thanking you." Axel shook his head, bringing a hand up to stroke through Roxas's hair soothingly. "Don't worry about it, Roxy. I just want you to be happy, okay?" It was strange, but Roxas was vaguely happy, just lying on his bed with Axel holding on to him, and he was perfectly content with his life, if only for that moment.